Okay, so go ahead and let's try our new felt tip pen. It says it's not supposed to bleed through the paper, so let's see. This side is going to be our art elements for visual notes, and this is going to be the design principles. So I'm going to put in art elements, and I'm going kind of fast because I'm afraid my computer is going to stop. And or else I might make that a little fancier. But art elements are the building blocks, the main things, the parts, I'm just going to say building blocks that an artist uses to create art. And so it's line, shape, form, value, texture, space, and color. Okay, and you know, if they're visual arts, I would probably come in and if I was not trying to hurry so fast, I would emphasize, you know, the art elements as a title and make it look nice. But I have to go kind of fast, so we're going to start with line, and we're going to visually draw these. So first I want you to draw, and if you want to make it perfectly straight, you can use your T-square or your triangle. You don't have to. But I want you to make a vertical line going up and then a horizontal line going left to right, because those are our two major lines that happen that we use a lot. And there's a real feeling having a horizontal and a vertical line in there. They're very stable lines. But we're going to emphasize our L, see this is an L, with a bunch of diagonal hash marks. And the reason I am doing this, and so it's however you want to do it, I'm making my diagonals go that way, and then I'm going to turn and make my diagonals go the other way, get a little cross action there, and maybe I'll just make one in the middle come up, just to remind me that diagonal movements have drama. So you have vertical, horizontal, and diagonal equals drama, because they move us through a line more than anything. So, you know, maybe you drove those in there, maybe you just kept it the L, but that's why we're drawing it that way, to remember those three directions of movement in the line. You can also use lines together. Let's use a long vertical, a short horizontal, a long vertical. You can even put little stopping points at them to make shapes, to make things, to construct. And then I'm going to pretend like I have this line here, or a little string, and I'm going to wrap it around. So here I'm going to wrap it over that eye, and then I'm going to act like it's going behind it, and then I'm going to come over it, and I'm going to wrap it behind it. And we can also make things look like they're layered or going back in space just by the way we wrap a line. We can also make a line look light or dark. So I'm going to make my ends. Let's see, let's make our ends with a bunch of little horizontal lines this way. And then make, let's go like this. And then let's do, I don't know, horizontal lines back up this way. You can kind of tell I'm winging this as I go. I mean, I have a plan, but each one is a little different. And let's make this side of the N look dark. So I'm going to increase my hash marks. And let's make this look like a medium. Or maybe I'll do a crosshatch there. And I'll just leave that light. So just by layering and doing our lines, we can make light or dark. And then another thing that I love to do, let's make a cursive E going like that. And let's weight our lines. So we make the line look thick at some points. I like to thicken it up usually where it's turning. And changing the weight of our line also makes the illusion of movement and value and things like that. So we can also express textures. And we have all these beautiful kinds of lines. Okay, shapes. Let's make a rectangle. And let's make another rectangle. Let's make a triangle. Let's make a circle. And let's make an oval. Okay, so these are shapes. And now we're going to use other shapes to make the word shape. We're going to look at the negative shape, the negative space that's around a positive. So I'm going to bring in two rectangles there. I made an S. Here for this H, I'm going to cut in, let's do a little bit on the sides just for fun. And I'm going to cut in maybe a shape like this. You can make up your own shape. I don't really know what that is. It's kind of like a tethered out triangle, kind of. And speaking of triangles, let's make this a completely out of triangles. Lovely. And the P, I'm thinking yin yang. Let's make a shape like that. Make our P kind of go like that. Maybe I'll use something like that. And then the E, let's just make it. And you can for sure decorate these like you want. Maybe you want to put in something awesome. Maybe you don't have time because you're going fast like me. But just make a fun shape to just remember shapes. The two things we have, and I should have made one of these organic and geometric. There's organic and geometric. Okay, next let's do form. So for here, I'm going to put a little dot here in the middle. That's going to be our vanishing point. And I'm just going to put a square. I'm going to leave some space, a circle, leave some space. Let's do another rectangle here. Okay, and let's do another circle here. So we're just going to do a quick perspective on this where we take our corners and we just kind of line them back up here. I'm not going to draw the line. I'm just going to draw my corner kind of going out to that. You can go ahead and make your line all the way out if you want. It really doesn't matter how you do it. But remember that form, I'm going to make this into an F. And I'm going to go ahead and shade this. But form is a three-dimensional version of a shape. So we're making these shapes. We went from a square to a cube, even though I shaded it a little different than I wanted because I'm trying to hurry. So even if we have a circle, we can make it a cylinder, and you can just see how you can make this line go back. I'm going to stop it before it hits the line. I can make that line go up, and you don't have to use your ruler. You can eyeball this if you want. We matched the outer corner of our original shape as that, so we just repeat it a little smaller there. And let's go ahead and darken that in, and let's add some shade going. We curve our shade, our cross hatching, and hatching because our form is curved, so we curve our hatch marks. Follow the form. So form is 3D. It has height, length, and width, and texture or any kind of shading always follows the form. We try to think of the three-dimensional shapes when we shade. So here on this rectangle, I'm just eyeballing it, and I'm going the opposite direction back to that line, and this is going to be an R. So let's make a little triangle like that, a little triangle like that, put that in, and I'm going to make my cross hatches vertical because my form is vertical. Here, let's make, this is going to go back this way to that line. This is going to go kind of this way to that line. Here's my outer edge. I'm going to repeat that there. Oh, what am I doing? I'm making it another, I need to make this an M, not an O. So let's put that right there. It's going to be a weird M with that little design in it, but that's okay. Maybe we'll make that a little eyeball. I don't know. Now that looks weird. But it would have looked like a cool M if I... Anyway, I'm going to shade this with my cross hatches, but I'm going to curve them. It's really, remember, follow the form when you're curving. Follow the form. So straight lines, curved lines. Put down what you need to remember that. Okay, after that comes value, and we're already kind of doing value. We've done it a number of times here. So I'm just going to make the word value, and I'm just going to thicken one side up because value is the light dark of something. Here's my U. And here's my E. I'll just make that thinned out there. It's kind of a cool way to do a font. And value is the light and dark of an object, or anything really. And we can make a little value scale now. You can do cross hatching, where we just make our hatches closer together when we want it dark, and we spread it out to have more space when we want it light. You can go the opposite direction if you want to cross hatch. And if you do a diagonal, however you want to make. For value, we're going to go for a 6 value. Okay, well, minimum, we'll put 3 values minimum, which is light, medium, and dark. In this class and in our artwork, we are going to strive for a 6 value scale where we try to get 6 equals super realistic. If you can get realism. We're going to talk about that more this year, trying to get 6 values. Okay, next we have texture. And texture has so much to do with value and form and line and shape. So let's make a block letter T. Okay, let's go ahead and make it 3D. I don't know if that's confusing. I didn't say how to do it. I just added a little thing there. And let's go ahead and make, see if you can make block letters for these. I don't know if I'm going to make them all 3D. Texture. Really, I didn't have to make them all block letters. I could have done some lines, but we're going to make textures just on here. Since there is 2 sides to this, I'm going to make this side darker and then just use a hatch as my texture on this one. And here, let's use a little stippling as a texture. Those are dots, so we're going to make it look like it's getting darker around the edges. Stippling is great with cross-hatching sometimes. Let's do a scribble texture. And I'm going to scribble out of the lines a little bit. And I want it to be dark on the bottom. And then as it gets to the top of the X, I'm going to lighten it up and put more space around my scribbles. You can definitely do any texture that you want to do. I'll do this one with just little circles. And this one. I'm going to make hair coming off of it. It's going to follow the form, so it has to kind of curve around that U place. Coming off there. And probably should have waited and done curves on the U. Here, let's do curves on this one though. I know it's an R. It's usually straight, but let's just put some curved hatch marks. Different places here. That would be a good place. Okay, and on this one, let's do, make up your own. Do your own texture there. Whatever it is you want to do. I think I'm going to do just, I don't know what that is. Just crazy texture. Okay. Space. I want to think of scale in space. Like, let's make a big space here. Let's make it look like it's going back far and we have a lot of space. So let's make an S. I'm going to make the S really big. And I'm going to have it overlapping this P. So right there we're playing with space because we look like one is closer to us than that one. And then let's make our A really stretch the space. Let's do an A here. And let's bring it. What am I doing? I don't know. I'm just stretching the space a little bit. And let's make our C really back there. Now to make this look a little more believable, I could put in a horizon line So like if that was the ground, then I could have my E. I'm going to make my E a bunch of, there's my E here, and then I'm going to make my E like it's floating apart. Like there's space in between my E. And if this were a sun, you could also make little, I don't know, I was going to say shadows, but it just kind of plays with that space. But if I'm supposed to be going fast, I don't know why I'm doing this. Just kind of plays with it a little bit. Looks a little cool. And you can definitely thicken up one side of a letter and make it look like it's going back in space. There's a lot of ways to play with space. Negative space is a big one. That's the space around, you know, and we've done that in a lot of these. And then color, I want you to go ahead and do a rainbow all the way across and get 7 spaces. I know it's a little area to do it in, but go ahead and get your 7. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and I want you to, we're going to do, this is color, so I'm going to put color right here. Color. And we're going to write Roy G. Biv. So here's an R, O, Y, G, B, I, V. Remember, those are the colors of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv. So I'm going to write red, orange, and yellow together on this side. And then I'm going to kind of divide it, because these are our warm colors. I'm going to write warm. Whenever you mix red, orange, and yellow together, you keep within the warms, you have beautiful color. Beautiful. Then over here we have, I'm going to write green. I'm not going to write it in the right thing, but it's okay. Green, blue, indigo, which is like a purple, black, blue. I love it. And then violet, which is the Biv, which is also purple. Okay, these are my cools. And anytime you mix cools together, they look good. You're safe. You're always making beautiful color if you mix your greens and blues and your indigos and violets, and you're always making beautiful color if you stick with the warms and mix warms. Now, in the middle, I'm just going to put purple, just to remind you that purple can mix with my reds and my oranges. It can go into these colors really well and to these colors. It's a friend to almost everybody but yellow. It doesn't mix that great with yellow to make a beautiful color. It makes a good complement. But that's just some great easygoing color theory to remember, that warms and cools go well together. Okay, so that's the art elements, and now that we've done a visual list of it, hopefully that will stick in your beautiful brains differently than it would have just writing it like the normal boring way of notes. Who needs that? Nobody. Okay guys, we'll see you in the next video.